This one's wife. She keeps trying to get back in. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife has buggered it all up in the United States. As a consequence of her behaviour and lack of talent and an absence of charisma, the A-list have turned their backs, the brands aren't interested, and they've largely been ridiculed. Her advisors have told her, things aren't looking good for you here. Nobody's interested in working with you. The failure that you've exhibited with regard to the production of content has resulted in people realising that you're intrinsically lazy, that the reputation of being a grifter is working against you, that the brands and the companies don't want to take a risk of being involved with somebody that behaves in such an entitled way, doesn't listen to advice, expects money for nothing, and also poses a risk to the particular brand. You've really buggered it up here in the United States. What we best advise you to do is you need to go back cap in hand to the UK. Cue wailing and gnashing of teeth and stamping of cloven hoof. Nevertheless, this one's wife now recognises that as a consequence of the diminishing financial position and the fact that she has not cracked America in the way that she thought she would be able to do so, that it has resulted in her now needing to worm her way back in to the United Kingdom. Some may well describe this as mission impossible, given the level of dislike that exists for her, wholly based upon the way that she behaved whilst in the United Kingdom, and then when she had left, particularly with the way that she has behaved towards the late Queen and Prince Philip. Many people's anger at her conduct is entirely justified, and the press continues to give her a rough ride. Notwithstanding this, she keeps on knocking in the expectation of coming back in, and there is a clear PR campaign that is being utilised to suggest that she and Harry would be welcomed back because they would be of use. This time, it appears in Vogue. An article by Michelle Ruiz tells us, the royals could use Harry and this one's wife right about now. I'm pretty certain, if you were to ask any member of the royal family, they would say, not a bleeding chance. The article explains, as royal gossip swirls and Kate-related conspiracy theories bubble to fever pitch, as an inept palace comms team scrambles to explain away a photoshop fail, and my text chains spiral into concerned chaos over Kate's health and that of her marriage, a thought is crystallising amid the noise. They should have never let Harry and this one's wife go. Now, they didn't let them go. They chose to leave. They chose to leave because this one's wife believed that she knew better. They chose to leave because for at least a year before their departure, they had been in discussions with various outlets for them to go it alone and to make money. They left as a combination of the greed of this one's wife and the fact that she was not able to control the royal family, the institution that was the royal family, the British press and the British public, so her narcissism moved her to the third assertion of control, which was withdrawal. She, of course, sought to explain it away by not saying, well, I'm rather greedy, and all I focused on is not service, even though I say service is universal. I focused on how I can make money out of this connection, because fuck me, aren't I lucky to have ensnared old ginger bollocks. That's put me in an elevated position, and I thoroughly need to exploit it. Although that's the reality of it, she was never going to admit to it. Furthermore, she isn't going to turn around and say, yeah, I tried to tell the palace what to do, I was unpleasant to the British people, and I fell out with the media, and ultimately I couldn't handle all of that, so I ran away because I'm a coward. Instead, once again, her narcissism causes her to adopt an alternative narrative, which is, I was bullied, and I was harangued, and people were nasty to me, so I had to leave the United Kingdom because it became such a toxic place. The problem, once again, is that with her style of narcissism and its collateral consequences is this. If the United Kingdom is such a horrible place, why are you now trying so hard to set the stage, to make a foundation for your return? Once again, the hypocrisy of the narcissist. The article continues by explaining The current imbroglio is exposing that the royal family isn't half as savvy or strategic as people are led to believe, nor as singularly focused on preserving the crown. If they were, they would have tried to keep Prince Harry and this one's wife within the firm at all costs. This is the type of hogwash that you can imagine this one's wife dreams up in her deluded world. Not only because they were stars, and she in particular could appeal to Commonwealth countries in a way that the rest of the family never will, by being a grifter, but also because the firm has left itself weak and short-staffed. King Charles has long advocated for a slimmed-down monarchy, according to reports. For the first time, I'm struck by the absurdity of this proposal, writes the journalist. To push for the elevation of an even more elite cluster, within arguably the most elite group of wasps alive, pretty savage too. In the King's case, it ostensibly meant symbolically demoting his own son, Prince Harry, to the back corner of the Buckingham Palace balcony during the firm's annual Trooping the Colour moment, as Prince William's children moved him even further down the line of succession. I've news for you, Miss Journalist. That's what happens when the immediate heir has children. They overtake the spare in the order of succession. It's been like that for centuries. It's not something new that King Charles has dreamt up. The article continues. During rosier times, though, the King's vision was one of efficiency, an effort to scale back the number of distant relatives living for life in taxpayer-funded apartments. Image-wise, a streamlined monarchy also trained subjects' focus on King Charles and his direct heir Prince William and his next-in-line George. A reminder, however unsubtle, that these people don't intend to go anywhere, no matter how anachronistic they're starting to feel in modern society. Be careful what you wish for. In light of recent events, the King's slimmed-down monarchy is wasting away to nothing. If the royals are silent film stars, as British playwright Bonnie Greer once noted, their cast has been dramatically diminished after the deaths of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, the defection of Prince Harry and this one's wife to Monty Shitshow, plus the disgracing of Prince Andrew. Yes, but that still leaves you with the King, Queen Camilla, the Prince of Wales, the Princess of Wales, Prince Edward, Sophie. It still leaves you with the Princess Royal. It still leaves you with the children of Edward and Sophie. It still leaves you with Eugenie. It leaves you with Beatrice. So there are still plenty of relatively senior royals knocking around. Yes, the cast has been slimmed down, but to suggest it's been dramatically diminished is something of an overstatement. It continues by explaining with King Charles battling an unnamed cancer, Queen Camilla taking a break after holding it down in her husband's stead, and Princess Kate, at least officially, recovering from a named abdominal surgery. Notice again the gossipness that comes with this, clearly in a pro-Sussex publication, trying to suggest that there's something untoward when there isn't. Only Prince William is wading back to work after initial hiatus around Kate's operation. The monarchy is so slender, it's 2 illnesses away from being a one-man show. Not at all, and in not too long a time, you'll start to see George undertaking engagements. Whoever might have been helpful in this situation, which 2 people and their 2 cute children could be shearing sheep and christening ships as we speak, providing a picturesque PDA-filled distraction from the disaster upon disaster spilling forth from the palace. What disaster upon disaster spilling from the palace? An overreaction to an edited photo. That's been it. The King's cancer, whilst troublesome, isn't a disaster. He's still alive and he's receiving treatment. And people are aware of the fact that he is in his 70s. So when he came to the throne, people knew that he wouldn't be around for ages. But lo and behold, he has a son waiting, who also has a son. So it's not like the immediate line of succession is in a problematic position. Publications such as this are clearly influenced by the Sussex PR machine, trying to suggest that, look, there is a disaster happening in the royal family. Who can save them but this one's wife and Harry? It is a case that's made on straw. It continues, stating that PDA-filled distraction from disaster upon disaster spilling forth from the palace, the void left by Prince Harry and this one's wife has never been more glaring. No, it hasn't. Because the firm has managed perfectly well without them for the last 4 years. In actual fact, they've become more popular while the Monty Shitshow idiots have seen their popularity tank. What this writer fails to understand is that if they were to return, the British public wouldn't stomach it. It would actually, there would be the disaster in those two coming back. But yet this article continues to try and suggest that there ought to be a return by them, by explaining neither has the firm's lack of foresight. Standing up for this one's wife against a torrent of racist and sexist abuse, making it tenable for the Sussex to stay part of this operation, was not only the decent thing to do, but the most prudent for the monarchy. Even though they didn't care for this one's wife, they should have been strategic enough to recognise that the Sussexes were an overall positive and diversifying force for the institution, except they weren't. She causes trouble everywhere she goes. This writer is utterly biased. They should have known that they couldn't afford to lose two of their youngest supplest stars, a couple with a global fan base and tons of runway for the future. They don't have a global fan base. More people dislike them than like them. They're lazy, entitled. Harry was no longer interested in representing the royal family. Therefore, why involve him? She certainly wasn't interested. She expected to be paid for doing a tour in Australia. She wanted to monetize it all. The only reason that they're coming crawling back is because they fucked it up in the United States. And it's patently obvious. And no matter how hard she keeps trying, through pieces such as this in Vogue to suggest that her and Harry are needed, and that the firm has somehow fucked up by letting them go, it's transparently obvious that it's incorrect. That they're a pair of troublemakers. They decided to go, and they're not welcome back because of the way that they have behaved. If they valued the relationship, they would have behaved themselves in the United States. But neither of them have done so. And therefore, this attempt by this particular journalist, Michelle Ruiz, to paint a picture of the royal family needing Harry and this one's wife is completely disingenuous. But it's not a surprise, because it's part of this one's wife's attempts to worm her way back in, because she has been an abject failure in the United States, and therefore it's only the royal family that can save her and him. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.